Hi, everyone. It is so good to be here. And I want to thank Samantha Bearden right now while it's on my mind. This is my second year doing this. And when I was invited to do it last year, I was so surprised because I really didn't realize that anybody knew I existed. And so when I got invited, I was like, man, this is awesome. Hi, Mish. Thank you for joining. I just finished watching your live. It was amazing. So I was like, okay. So then when I got the notification this year that we were doing it again, I said, yeah, I want to do it. But to be honest, I really wasn't sure what I was going to present. And I actually just was looking back at the one I did last year. For some reason, it popped up. Imagine that. So this year I was like, well, I'm not really sure what I want to do. And to be honest, Mitch actually reached out to me and she was like, how do you want me to introduce you? And I said, well, I'm the intuitive empowerment diva. And I got that from spirit because I love to laugh and I love to make people laugh. And I like to lighten the mood. And I'm also a diva. So I was like, okay, so that works for me, and so I said, introduce me that way. And how I got the topic of unleashing your true self is because that is the name of my business. And Samantha Bearden actually put it out there. And I was like, you know what? That is exactly right. Because what has been happening for me, even as I am embarking on this path and moving on this journey, is that my true self is being unleashed. Because for me, I have a little bit of a different path, but not so different, probably the same as a lot of people. I have been a nurse for 26 years, so I've been taking care of people, I say all my life. That's it. And so that's been my main career. And so as I began to awaken and as I began to see, let me do the phone so I can see comments, because you can't see comments on this. Okay. All right. Mish says, I call myself an inspirational humorist. Yes, yes. So you know what I'm talking about. So because I know that, when people laugh and when you can see the humor in things, it makes life so much easier, and it keeps you from getting attached to outcomes, just like what Mish was saying earlier. It keeps you, in the flow, and it keeps you kind of not taking yourself so seriously, because what happens so many times, especially when people begin to attract disease and illnesses and things like that in their life, it's because they take themselves so seriously and they don't take the time to laugh. And a lot of times we have to take the time to laugh at ourselves. Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining. So, as I was saying, I decided that unleashing your true self was the perfect topic to talk about, because as we begin to open up to the awareness of all that there is, and to the God consciousness that there's more out there than just us, there's more than maybe what we were taught. As we begin to exit the boxes that we are in and that we have grown to live in, really, and then things begin to happen that make us become aware of more than just us. And so that has been happening for me. And so I had decided that, I would share that, and I just talk about it, because the thing is what I notice is a lot of times people will gloss over that part. They just go over it. Don't talk about it. And maybe if you don't talk about it, then nobody will deal with it. And so what time it is now is we are coming into awareness. People are waking up. And so we have to deal with all those things that are underneath, and everything is not so pretty all the time. And that's the thing that we learn as we begin to awaken. And not only that, we begin to see, ourselves. We begin to unleash our true self. We begin to move with spirit. We begin to release the outcomes. We begin to go to places that we could only go in our minds in the past. And so now it's like we're taking our whole selves and we're unleashing our true self. And so that is something that I have been so excited about, because even the name Unleashing Your True Self, for me, it was Spirit. Spirit gave me that name. He said, this is what I want you to call this. And it's morphing into all types of things that I had no idea it was going to go there. It's like, okay, so because I've been a healer all my life since I could remember, and probably in past lives as well, a few that I know of. And so that's not new, but it's new how it's occurring and how I affect, the lives of other people. And also the fact that I'm able to read energy in people. And it's been an amazing thing, but it's also been such a growth process for me. And this is why I say definitely unleashing our true self. Definitely unleashing your true self. And so that is something that I'm definitely growing into, and I'm moving to a place. And I also have no problems, and I'm transparent enough to share my journey with other people, because I know that it's not just me that's on the journey. And I know that so many things and so many issues and things that I've been through is not just for me. And this is why I have no issues and no problems sharing it. And it's like now I'm being propelled to speak about so many things that I've been through, and I know because there are so many people going through the same types of things, and they felt just the same way that I did when I went through those things, that there were not other people in the world dealing with that. And so I'm here to open up the doors to that, and to take away the shame and all the things that, you feel underneath, that are deep, that you're bringing out and that you're pulling out and that you're exposing, and doing it with the transparency, and also doing it with empowerment. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is I got some cards, which they're new cards for me, and I actually fell in love with them. And they're called Divine Downloads. They're called Divine Downloads, which is perfect for this event. And so I decided that I would pull a card for the collective. And then also, if any of you would like for me to pull a card for you, I'll do that as well. And as we do that, I'll continue to talk about how we are supposed to be unleashed and the process that it takes. And so as we begin to take this journey and go to the places deep within our minds, so that we can begin to bend spoons, as Misha was talking about, we begin to cross over into dimensions and move into other places and begin to feel and to be, because a lot of times in this world and in this life, we are not being, and we're not moving, and we're not feeling. And so what begins to happen is you begin to feel, and a lot of times it's painful. It is so painful, because you may have not felt before, or you might not have allowed yourself to feel. Hi, Catherine. Thank you for joining. So, once you begin to allow yourself to feel, you begin to allow yourself to see, you begin to allow yourself to be, then you begin to get unleashed. And what I'm noticing is that it's not a one-time thing. It happens, minutely, almost, I say hourly, daily, weekly, but minutely. Hey, Katarina, thank you for joining. But as you begin to get unleashed, and you can go back and forth is what I've been noticing. So as you begin to unleash in an area, and your eyes get open and you begin to see, and it's like a rainbow, everything is coming, and you're beginning to understand things that you've never understood before. You're beginning to see why your life took the path that it took, why you had to deal with the things that you dealt with, what in your past life, came back in this life, and what you have to deal with now in order to move on and go to the places that you're supposed to go in this life and help the people that you're supposed to help. if that is what you're supposed to do. And so as you do this thing, it's like if you say, okay, so I used to go to church a lot, and they used to say, say I'll never be broke another day in my life. And so you say that, I'll never be broke another day in my life. And then as soon as you walk out the door, you realize you ain't got no money. So you broke, right? And so in your mind, you're like, well, that was a lie. That wasn't even true. And so it's very much similar as you're awakening and you begin to see who you really are. Because what it is who you really are looks contrary to who you think you are or who you were a minute ago. Because minute by minute we change and we begin to unleash as we change each and every minute and each and every day. However, you still have to do those things that you need to do. You need to do the tapping. You need to say the affirmations. You need to write. You need to journal. You need to tell yourself. And then you need to be patient with yourself. And you also have to forgive yourself. Because so many times, we are not patient with ourselves, and we are patient with everybody else in our life, but we are not able to be patient with ourselves. We think that just because we learned this today, we took a course and we learned this today, then we're responsible for it, and we can't go back, And so, you also have to realize that, you're dealing with years and years and years, sometimes lives and lives of different things that you've been dealing with and ways that you have been behaving. And so as you begin to get unleashed, as you begin to open up and you begin to realize that, hey, 1 + 1 might not be 2, it might be 2.5, it might be 3, or you begin to realize, why the fuck are we adding that anyway? What does it have to do with anything? You begin to question, you begin to open up and try to get to a place where you're understanding who you really are, and you're unleashing, you're letting that person go and bringing them out of the box, and then trying to stay out of the box. That's the other part. Trying to stay out of the box, trying not to go back in the box. Because, truth be told, you have family, you have friends, sometimes they're looking at you like you're a crazy person because you're saying, the energy and the spirit, and, I heard the spirit tell me, and different things like that. And they're looking at you like you have definitely fallen off your rocker and you need to go see somebody to talk to about your head. That's how they're looking at you a lot of times. And these are the things that we have to deal with because, truth, we are spirit, but we also live here in this world. And we have to deal with all these things that happen in the world, and I can say that for my own self. I moved 2,000 miles away from where I was from and what I knew. And people told me that were in my circle that I call friends and some family, when they said, why are you doing it? I said, because I heard God tell me to move. God told me to go. And they told me, no, God don't do that. God wouldn't tell you that. And so as I began to still do, because for me, I don't care what other people say. If spirit tells me to do, spirit tells me to go, that's where I go. And then I trust that, spirit is going to uphold me, that I have a heavenly team that's going to support me, that the angels and my ascended masters and all those people that are in my corner are going to be there for me. And it's funny because we actually had an experience recently. My husband and I went to the pool and we were talking about being able to backfloat, because I can backfloat, but he can't. And I was so surprised because he's a Navy man. But I guess that's not something that was important for the Navy. So he's like, well, how do you do it? And I said, you just have to lay back, because I do it very well. Because to be honest, for me, it's like relaxation. It's almost like meditation for me. I just lay back and I just float. And so I was explaining it to him, and all of a sudden I said, you know what? You have to trust that the water will support you. I said, that's why you can't do it, because you have to trust. I can't do it for you. I can't tell you. I can hold you up. I said, I did it for my kids. I said, but you have to trust that the water will support you. And so this is the same thing that we have to do on this journey as we are unleashing our true self, and as we are moving into this place that Spirit is calling us to do, is we have to trust that God, the universe, source, is going to support us. And it's not something that happens one time and we're done. It's the same thing. Every time I lay out in that pool and float on my back, I have to trust each and every time that the water will support me. Each and every time, not just one time, because once you start thinking about it, and it's so amazing, because I was thinking about what Mish said. Once you start getting attached to the outcome and thinking about it, then you can't bend that spoon. And it's the same way with trying to unleash yourself and to get yourself at the place that Spirit is calling you to be, and the place that you can see in your mind's eye, and you're supposed to be there, and that this is what you're being called to do at this time, in this place in your life. Not looking back, not thinking about all the times you failed. I was watching Catherine Musell earlier, and that resonated so. Not thinking about all the times you failed, all the times, it didn't happen for you, all the times you spent, fortune thinking that this is what it's going to take for me to be able to be who I'm supposed to be, and, be the healer, be the deliverer, be whoever it is that you're supposed to be. And you're thinking about all the times that you failed, not thinking about that. Going forward and taking those times for teachable moments, for lessons, for things that you're supposed to learn, things that you're supposed to help other people to do. And so this is why I'm coming here today to speak to you on unleashing your true self. And the thing is too, is we have to take a step back and not take ourselves so seriously. We have to take a step back and just say, okay, this is where we're going. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for joining. This is where we're going. And this is what I'm going to do today, this moment, this time. Because the thing is, I remember I heard somebody say once, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You cannot eat it all at once. And so you cannot embrace this journey all at once. You cannot expect everything to change for you all at once. You cannot expect to be unleashed in a day. It's a journey. And it is not just the destination, but it's the journey along the way. It's the people that you meet. It's the things that you learn. It's the people that you impact. The people that, you love on the way. As I work today, I'm in behavioral health. So right now I work in intake, where I bring people in that need to get detox and that are suicidal and different things like that. And so as they come in, at first I really didn't like the job. I just didn't like it, because they put a lot of pressure on you, and it's a whole nother thing. But as I began to really dive deep into meditation and begin to heal within myself some things, I knew that there was a reason why I was there. Because for me, I'm not a person that's going to retire from a job, because it's not in me to do, because I'm a 2-year girl. I stay at a job for about 2 years, and then it's time for me to go. I don't even know what that's about. However, that is me. And so I don't have a problem. I don't fight it. I embrace it at this point. And so I always question why I'm at a particular place. And I realize now that there are times that Spirit drops me in places as an angel, and I know that my presence is necessary. And so at this particular place, when I bring them in, I brought in a couple of kids, and I call them kids because they're, the ages of my kids. And so they come in and they want to get off of heroin. They want to detox off of heroin. So I bring them in, and you know what I do? I said, come on in. I said, it's time for you to get help. I said, I'm glad you're here. And I grab them and I hug them. And I can tell that they're not used to that, and that nobody really reaches out to them, especially if they've been through it before and they felt like they're a failure. And I tell them, nobody is a failure. I say this to them, And so for me, it's easy for me to be kind and to treat them like somebody loves them, you know. And so this is what we have to do to ourselves, is be kind to ourselves and treat us like somebody loves us. And this is what happens as we begin to awaken and unleash the true self that's within us. And so that is something that, you know, I try to do as I even work with clients. You know, I have a few clients that I'm working with right now, and I try to, a lot of them, you know, they need love, and I can tell that that is what they need. And also because of the brand that I am. I'm a no sugar coating type of girl. You know, I'm going to tell you like it is. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more temperate in that way. So I don't quite cut you up, but I do give you some tough love. I give you mama love because that's me. And as I've been on this journey, I realized that that is what I'm supposed to do. You know, I'm not supposed to sugarcoat shit. I'm not supposed to, you know, tell you that, you know, it's pink, you know, when it's really black. I'm just not supposed to do that. That's not me. So, but as I begin to awaken and as I help other people to get unleashed, you know, because I think about it like this. So many things. I got married at 19 years old. I was young. And I married a man that had no idea how to love. And of course, I discovered that many years later. And so in the course of all that, you know, I learned a lot and I grew up really quickly. And so I've been grown for a long time and I've been an adult for a long time. My children are all, you know, of age. They all live on their own in their own states. They do their thing, you know. And so this is who I am though. But I learned that as over time and as time went on, that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so I stopped fighting it. And that's another part of getting unleashed. You stop fighting what it is that you're supposed to do. And you stop fighting all the transitions and the things that are happening. And you stop fighting your past and you bring it in and you use it to help the people that you're supposed to help. Because there are young girls that I can talk to that I can tell them, you know, maybe you should think about that. Maybe you should, you know, do something different. You know, maybe let's figure out who you are before you go giving yourself to somebody else. You know, maybe let's do that. So anyway, I just want to, which I was supposed to do a while ago, but I'm going to pull a card for all of us from this divine downloads because I'm feeling called to do it. It's an amazing deck. I can put the link for them in the comments. One of the ladies I met on LinkedIn actually made them, and I thought they were amazing when I saw them. So I ordered some, and they're like the size of a card deck, which I really, really like because I can fit them in my little bitty hands. So right now, I'm going to take a breath and pull us in an amazing card. And so the card for the collective right now that I pulled is resistance. I witnessed my fear to change one compassionate breath at a time. Resistance is a common reaction when stepping up in a bigger way than you have before. What you resist persists. Often the bigger the transformation, the bigger the resistance. And then she has prompts at the bottom which are amazing. What are you resisting? How can you honor yourself as you work through it? Now, to me, that is nothing but spirit because that was totally perfect for this discussion that I've been having with you guys about unleashing our true self and how you begin to do that and how you embrace. And so as you do that, you let go of resistance and you think about what it is that you're resisting. And you know, the thing I like about these cards as well is the prompts at the bottom, I use them as journal prompts. So what are you resisting? And how can you honor yourself in this process and work as you work through it? So again, my name is Tammy Morrison of Unleashing Your True Self. I'm an intuitive empowerment diva. I'm also a writer. I'm a contributing writer to Spirit Biz magazine every month. I also write articles. I also have a blog as well, tammymorrison.com. I also am a #1 best-selling author of the book Unchain Me Mama, which is an anthology of stories about women and their relationships with their mother and how they've changed and how they've grown and how they've, some of them have recovered. There are some really crazy relationships, but it was an amazing book. And it also helped me to heal from the relationship that I had with my mother, which was crazy when I was younger. And so that, and also I'm an inspirational speaker because that's something that I feel that I'm called to do. So I'll be doing that. So if you guys want me to come and speak at your events, you can reach out to me on my page. You can get me on Facebook. You can get me on Instagram at Tammy Y. Morrison. You can get me on LinkedIn at Tammy Morrison. You can check out my YouTube channel, which I have a podcast, Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammy. And I invite people to come on as guests. It's an amazing thing. It's one of the things that is so close to my heart. I absolutely love doing it. So without further ado, I'm going to invite the next speaker. So Kelly Hurley is going to be following me from Energetically Inspired. She's a spiritual life coach and energy therapist discussing how to shift emotional blocks energetically. Let me say that right. Kelly Hurley from Energetically Inspired. She's a spiritual life coach and energy therapist who's discussing how to shift emotional blocks energetically. That is amazing, and I'm so excited for that, and I look forward to listening to Kelly. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Kelly, especially Catherine, Katarina, Angela, Mish, whoever joined, and those of you that catch the replay, just say hashtag replay for me. And also, I have an offer today for the Flash Mobbers all the way through next week. I am offering energy readings recorded and sent to your email or your messenger for pay what you want for the next week. So whatever you want to pay, as long as you book it by next, Saturday, as long as you book it by next Sunday, pay what you want. And I'll do your reading and send it to your email or your messenger for your energy readings. So that is my offer for today. And I want to thank you so much. And I hope that you guys got something out of it. And I hope that you'll check out my YouTube channel as well, Tammy Morrison, and check out our podcasts that are on there. I have energy readings on there, meditations, all kinds of stuff. That is amazing. Thank you so much for the time, Samantha. Thank you so much for having me on. Bye now.